Hi everyone, we're going to go through some little steps in Photoshop that might help some of you with what you're doing in photography. So I'm going to open up Photoshop, I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to get a picture of someone that we're going to use as a figure and as a shape. I chose this one because there's parts that are in focus and parts that are out of focus, which is likely to happen in a lot of photography. I'm going to go File, Open again, and I'm going to get some landscapes. I might get this one, and File, Open, and I might get, that one looks nice. Okay, so I got two landscapes, and the last thing we're going to need for today is something off the desktop, which is an impossible shape. You could use any shape, but this one looks cool to me. So here we are on the shape, okay, which is going to be used not for what's graphically there, but just for the shape outline. So I'm going to go make sure that you're on the right mode. So if you go Window and Workspace, you should be in Painting or Photography. Either one will work for what we're doing. And then your toolbar, which is this thing over here. If you can't see your toolbar, go Window, Window, and in your window down here, there should be a tick on all the things that should be open. So I want my navigator open, which is this thing. Oh, you can't see that. But you definitely want to have like your layers open and your toolbar. So anything that's got a tick, it's open. So here we are on the tools. Third tool down, the polygonal lasso tool. I'm going to use that because when you select something like this triangle I just made, it's just going a straight line, whereas just the normal lasso tool will be for something really curvy, but then you have to do it pretty exact with your mouse. Or the magnetic lasso tool, which feels for the edges of it. As you can see, it's getting most of those edges, but then when it turns white against white, it has to have a good contrast. So that's another option. Oh, it's not working that bad, but you see around here it's not that good. So I'm going to stick with the polygonal lasso tool because it's very exact. So here we go. So cut. It's just like you're cutting out a piece of paper, and you can have a 100% straight line between points when you click your mouse, which is good. So there we go. I've selected the triangle. I'm going to go Control X. It's going to cut it out. This is now a scrap bit of paper. I'm going to go Control V. Now you look back in your layers window, and I'm going to, this background, which is just the scrap paper, I'm going to turn it off by clicking the eye. Okay, and then we want to cut out this middle part. This is an impossible triangle, by the way. I like impossible shapes because they exist two-dimensionally, but they can't exist three-dimensionally. So I'm on this layer, and I'm going to go Control X. So I've cut that out, but I don't want to paste that back. So now what we've got is this shape. Now, there's two different ways we can get this shape into another document. There's two things. You can go right-click on the layer over here, and you can go Duplicate Layer, and I want it to go into either a new document or in any of these documents that I've already got open, like Wool Beach. If I go OK, it will be there. There it is. The other way that you could do it is you could literally start dragging it. Make sure you're on the arrow tool at the top, literally dragging it, and then you go to the tab at the top, or this one, let's put it in this one instead, and there it is. Actually, we'll go with this one because it's a better shape. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing again. We want to select that shape, but instead of doing the polygonal tool, which we used before, instead we're going to use either the quick selection tool, which quickly selects everything around it, but it isn't always that exact. See, it's not. Oh yeah, it's trying to. Oh no, yeah, that's pretty good. So there we go. We've used that. Or the other thing that you could do is you could do the magic wand tool, which is the fourth tool down again underneath it, and then you can just go click, and it selects areas of it, and you keep clicking until it's got it all. Sometimes it takes a little bit before it gets it all. It kind of depends on the shape. So if I'm holding down Shift now, to make sure that's all selected. And I think I've got it all now. There we go. And you can see that those glowing lines around it. That means the whole thing's selected. Now here's the trick. I'm in this layer that I've selected that shape with, but I want to actually cut the background out. Now I can't cut the background until I take that lock off. Now I can. And so instead of cutting this layer, which I used to select, I'm going to be cutting the layer beneath it. So I go Control X, and see the triangle doesn't disappear because I'm not cutting the triangle, I was cutting the background. So let's get rid of the triangle by clicking on the eye, and it's gone. The background's gone. Now we don't need the triangle anymore, okay, because that was just the shape. And we're going to go Control V, and what we cut out of the background is now there, and we'll just click in there. You won't even notice that it's there, see? But it is, because it's made of two parts. So what I understand is some of you want to use this shape and then put it somewhere else in the same document. So in that case, another little short key. I'm only going to talk about three. So that's Control X is cut, Control C is copy, Control V is paste. Another really useful one is Control T. If we do Control T, we can change the size of it. If you hold down Shift, it stays in ratio. If you don't, it gets all squished up. Okay, but more importantly, we can twist it like this, which is, I think, what some of you want to do. So let's say we've twisted it, but I want to be able to see the shape that I'm putting it into, so it locks in. And I haven't got it quite in, but nearly. And it might take a little bit to make sure it fits exactly. The other thing that I might suggest that some of you do is like make it ever so slightly bigger, just so that it fits and that none of the white will exist around it. Okay. Move it over there. Okay. So you can now that they're in different layers, what you could do if you wanted to, you could double click on the layer and you could add something like an outer glow, make sure it's on normal, and they could spread out from there. And you see now there's a kind of a glow around it. I don't know if you wanted to. Another option. Okay, so there's that sort of thing, which I think some of you have been wanting to do. So we get rid of that. And get rid of that. So the other thing that I heard some of you were wanting to do was to put a landscape or some kind of texture onto a person's face. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the person, we're going to go Control J, and that copies the exact copy of the layer. So we're going to keep that one we could call original, and this one, what we're going to do is we're just going to turn it into a silhouette, right? So we're going to go layer, image, adjustments, and threshold. And what the threshold does is that it turns it into a stencil, right? Now we don't want to make it into a too dark a stencil, but you know, like stencils for street art, you know, it's basically turning into two tones, either black or white. So it's like turning it into an incredibly simplified version of itself. And all I want to do is kind of get the silhouette sort of shape. So I'm going to keep going until the neck closes up. So that's fine. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the painting mode, and I'm using the paint that's in black, and I'm just going to quickly just like make all this black as well, because I don't want any holes of white inside it. So basically what we're doing is just getting a silhouette. And I'm going to also, while I'm at it, I'm also going to use the eraser tool and just get rid of that text at the bottom, because we don't want that either. Okay, cool. Now using that quick selection tool again, or what I could do is go select, color range, and choose everything that's black. Oh yeah. Sorry. Select color range and choose everything that's black. Why can't I do that? Why don't I do that? Oh, the image. Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. So yes, select color range. I've selected everything that's black, and now I'm just going to cut it out. So I've taken everything that's black. Now we're going to go to our texture or our landscape and go Control V. So now we've got this head in it, and it fits pretty much, but we want it to stay basically the same size for what we're doing. So oh yeah, it's the same size, so that's all good. Right, so this is the reason I'm showing you this, the second one, is that it's kind of related. You're going to go the magic wand tool and you're going to select everything that is that shape, which is the black. But instead of cutting that image out, we actually want to keep that shape and use it to cut the background from. So I've ripped the background off again. And now I go back to the original. I don't need that because that was just scrap paper. And there's the original image, and I'm going to put this over the top. Okay? And wait until it kind of clicks in. Cool. And now what we're going to do, these are the orders of the layers, right? So I'm just going to put the woman's face on the top, and I'm going to go to the opacity, and I'm going to select the opacity until I feel as if I've got enough of the texture coming through a little bit of the face. Okay, so like now I can see the texture of the landscape, as it were, and see the face. I'm just going to crop that a bit. Okay, and the last thing we could do, and this is just an artistic choice, but you could go to the eraser tool again and bring the opacity down a bit, bring the flow down a bit, which means the effectiveness as a rubber is decreased. Which is exactly the same as when you use the brush. Like the brush doesn't have to come out of the brush 100% of the time. You can make it a sort of a weaker brush, as if you had less paint on the brush, if that makes sense. So for example, let's say you can see that blackness that's going on there, which is just like, I'm just going to undo that because I don't want, but it's not like it's coming out like this. So if I had 100%, 100%, it would just come out like this. It'd be horrible. But what I'm actually going to do is show you the same sort of idea, but using the eraser tool, which is down here, way down here. And the eraser tool, I'm going to choose this layer, which is the landscape, and I'm just going to decrease it just a little bit around her eye and nose and mouth, just so that those three areas come in a little bit clearer. Alright, and so when you're seeing a checkerboard effect on Photoshop, that means it's going through to nothing. And then the last thing you want to do is go layer, flatten image. Okay, and this way you can, the eye has come through a little bit more in the nose as well, because the nostril was kind of competing for shape. I noticed that with the rock, whereas the eye was actually just up in the sky, so it wasn't in a bad place. Hope that was useful. Cool, thanks.